my name is Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel BandysBooks, and today we are here because it's Friday, which means it's a rant or a review, and we're going to be talking about a book that I was so excited to receive an ARC of. This was probably one of my most heavily anticipated reads of 2023, and that's In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This book was published on April 25th, 2023 by Tor Publishing. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that A House in the Cerulean Sea was one of my favorite books of 2021. I read Under the Whispering Door last year and also really enjoyed that. So when I saw the cover of In the Lives of Puppets, I was very excited because it was very reminiscent of the Under the Whispering Door cover. And to me, it seemed like it was going to be in a similar vein as those two previous books. So this book features a family of androids. They're living deep in the forest. We have a character named Geo, who is an inventor type robot. And then we have a sadistic nurse robot named Nurse Ratched. And we have a tiny little vacuum type robot, and his name is Rambo. And with them lives a young boy named Vic. They're hidden safely away in the forest, away from society, and they have a very happy and enjoyable life. And then one day, Vic is playing in the scrapyard and finds a decommissioned robot. He brings that robot home and he does some restoration work, and when that robot is brought back to life, he names him Hap. And Hap becomes Vic's friend, but Hap also comes with some unanticipated consequences. And those consequences lead Vic and friends on an adventure that was completely unexpected. We learn a whole bunch about the world, and Vic ultimately has to decide if he can accept love that comes with limitations. This book definitely comes with found family themes, which is something that I think TJ Klune at this point is very well known for. We have a bunch of people that are from different places that come together to create a loving unit, and that is probably the strength of this book. This is a loose retelling of Pinocchio, and while you can find little elements from the original story here and there, this isn't following in Pinocchio's footsteps. It's more just kind of a brief nod in that direction. This book was darker and grittier than both Cerulean Sea and Whispering Door. It had some humor and just a little bit of an edgier vibe than I was used to with some of Klune's previous works. I did enjoy that though. I kind of liked that it was a little edgier, a little grittier. I like that not everything resolves perfectly and that there's a little bit of conflict. As far as characterization goes, I really enjoyed our main character, Vic. I found him to be very relatable and understandable, and overall I thought he was probably the highlight of the characters. I also really enjoyed the inventor robot Geo and then the found robot Hap. I thought both of their characters were fairly interesting. I will say that some of the other characters kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I didn't love Nurse Ratched and I didn't love Rambo. I also didn't love some of the other minor characters that pop up in the story. For me, some of them just kind of grated on my nerves a little bit for some reason. Probably my biggest critique of this book is that I found the plot to be really unevenly paced. For me, I struggled to get into this book. The first 150 pages are all set up, and I feel like they could have been trimmed down significantly to get to the actual plot much faster. I didn't really feel like the concept of the story was hard to understand, so I didn't think it really needed like this 200-page buildup. And then we get into the action fairly quickly, and then we stagnate again, and then we get back to action and then stagnate. For me, it was just very unevenly paced. I think that it needed some work with editing a little further. And on that note, I also found that some of the plot points seemed completely irrelevant to me. There were things that happen on this character's journey that I felt were completely unnecessary to the story, and it felt like it was just filling the story to make it a little more interesting or to like increase the page count a bit. I feel like it's cool to have like plot points that aren't necessarily super relevant to the climax of the story, but I feel like there has to be some kind of point, and for me they just felt tedious. I didn't feel like the characters grew from them. I didn't feel like the characters learned a whole lot from them. I felt like they were just kind of there to provide a little bit of a hiccup in the road. I'll also say that the main crux of the story, the conflict, for me felt like it was lacking a bit. I think that I never felt like our characters were in any imminent danger, that there was never really going to be like super heavy consequences of the things that were happening to them. And so it didn't feel very urgent. Like the whole story kind of plods along, and I felt like for what was going on, I should have felt some sort of sense of urgency. I think, again, this goes back to that pacing issue. And then one thing that really threw me off with this book was the humor in it. So I will say that I am not a big slapstick humor type of person. I never have been. I'm not somebody that watches like slapstick type movies. I prefer like more sarcastic, dry humor. So it might just be a personal preference thing. It might be one of those things where I just didn't relate to the way that this was written. But I found that this book had a lot of dick jokes, poop jokes, and sex jokes. And I'm totally here for the dick jokes and the sex jokes and the poop jokes, just like anyone else is, if they're good dick jokes and sex jokes and things. But I just felt like they were very juvenile. I just felt like they were very childish. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, but it was too repetitive, I guess. I felt like the same joke was used over and over and over. Like it was a running joke throughout the story, except it was barely funny the first time. So by the time that you heard it the fifth time, it just wasn't, for me, that enjoyable. I was almost getting annoyed. I will say that one of our main characters in this story is asexual, which I really appreciated that portrayal. I think it's super important to write diverse characters, and I appreciate that TJ Klune almost always includes diverse characters in his stories. I thought that he wrote an asexual character very well. It wasn't super in your face, but it was understandable if you were unfamiliar with what asexuality entails. I think this would be a good place to kind of dip your toes in the water to get just a basic understanding of it. If you've never read a TJ Klune book before, I would definitely recommend A House in the Cerulean Sea or Under the Whispering Door before I would suggest In the Lives of Puppets. But you know what? I have looked on Goodreads and a lot of the reviews for this book are super positive. A lot of people seem to really love it. They enjoy the humor and they think it's another TJ Klune classic. For me, it didn't quite get there, but I think that I'm in the minority on that opinion. So, you may pick it up and love it a lot more than I did. So that's it for now. If you pick up this book, I hope that you enjoy it. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know, have you read TJ Klune before? And if you have, which is your favorite book of his? And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below as well as the notification bell so you never miss a video and we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.